Close your eyes right now. Now touch your nose with your right index finger. Go ahead. Try it. You just did something remarkable. You knew exactly where your hand was in space. You knew exactly where your nose was. You brought them together perfectly. Without looking. Without thinking about it. Without any visual information at all. So how did you know? The answer is that you have a sense, a real one, a scientifically documented one, and almost nobody has ever told you its name. It has been working every second of your life. Right now, as you listen to this, it is sending your brain thousands of signals, telling you where your arms are, where your legs are, whether you are sitting or standing, whether your head is tilted. You have never consciously felt a single one of these signals. And yet without them, you could not walk. You could not sit upright. You could not even know your own body was yours. This sense is called proprioception, from the Latin proprius, meaning one's own, and perception, meaning to perceive. The perception of one's own body. It is sometimes called the sixth sense, not in the mystical sense, in the literal, scientific, measurable sense. You have 5 senses everyone learns in school. Sight, hearing, smell, taste, touch. But there is a 6th, and it might be the most important one you have. Here is how it works. Deep inside your muscles are tiny sensory receptors called muscle spindles. They detect the smallest changes in muscle length. Inside your tendons are receptors called Golgi tendon organs. They detect tension, how hard a muscle is working. Inside your joints are receptors that detect angle, how bent or straight a joint is at any given moment. All of these receptors fire constantly, not occasionally, not when you move, constantly. Every single second of your life, thousands of signals are traveling from your muscles, tendons, and joints, up your spinal cord, into your brain. Your brain takes all of this information and builds something extraordinary, a live, constantly updating map of exactly where every part of your body is in space. Without this map, you would not know if your arm was raised. Unless you looked at it, you would not know if you were standing unless you looked down. You would not know which way your head was facing unless you saw a mirror. This map is built thousands of times per second, and you have never once been aware that it is happening. In 1880, a British neurologist named Henry Charlton Bastian proposed that the body must have some kind of internal sense beyond the traditional 5. He called it the kinesthetic sense. But it wasn't until 1906 that physiologist Charles Scott Sherrington gave it the name we use today, proprioception. Sherrington would later win the Nobel Prize for his work on the nervous system. He described proprioception as the sense that tells you where you are without you ever having to ask. For most of the 20th century, proprioception remained a footnote in most discussions of human senses, overshadowed by sight, overshadowed by hearing. But everything changed because of one man. In 1971, a 19-year-old butcher named Ian Waterman caught a stomach virus. It seemed minor at first, a fever, some nausea. Within days, something else began happening. Ian started losing the ability to feel his own body. Not pain. He could still feel pain perfectly. He could still feel hot and cold. He could still feel touch. But he lost something else entirely. He lost his sense of where his body was. The virus had attacked and destroyed the specific nerve fibers responsible for proprioception. Every muscle spindle, every joint receptor, every signal that once told his brain where his limbs were in space. Gone. Permanently. Doctors had never seen anything quite like it. Ian could not stand. Not because his muscles were weak. His muscles worked perfectly fine. He simply did not know where his legs were, unless he was looking directly at them. The moment he closed his eyes, his body became a stranger to him. He would collapse instantly, like a puppet with its strings cut. For months, Ian was completely bedridden. Doctors told him that what he had lost could never be relearned. There was no rehabilitation program for this. No precedent. Nobody had ever recovered from total proprioceptive loss before. But Ian refused to accept that. He began to teach himself something the rest of us never had to learn consciously. He started using his eyes to do the job his proprioception used to do. If he wanted to stand, he had to consciously look at his legs and visually confirm they were straight. If he wanted to walk, he had to watch each foot land with total visual concentration. Every single movement that you and I make automatically, Ian had to perform through pure conscious visual control. It took him over a year to learn how to sit upright again. It took him even longer to walk. And here is the detail that stunned every scientist who studied his case. The moment the lights went out, Ian Waterman collapsed every single time. Without vision, he had absolutely no other way to know where his body was. His brain had no backup system. Researchers led by neuroscientist Jonathan Cole studied Ian for decades. They concluded that Ian had not regained his proprioception. He had built an entirely new system. To replace it, a system built entirely on vision, doing a job vision was never designed to do. Ian Waterman lived the rest of his life having to consciously watch every part of his own body just to keep it under control, something you and I do without ever thinking about it. Even once, his case proved something remarkable. Proprioception is not a backup sense. It is the primary system your brain relies on to know that your body belongs to you. There is something even stranger about how this sense works. Proprioception does not just tell your brain where your body is. It tells your brain that your body is yours at all. In the 1990s, researchers conducted an experiment now famous in neuroscience. It is called the rubber hand illusion. A participant sits at a table. Their real hand is hidden behind a screen. In its place, a realistic rubber hand is positioned where their real hand would be. A researcher then strokes the rubber hand and the real hidden hand at exactly the same time with the same rhythm. Within minutes, something extraordinary happens. Most participants begin to feel as though the rubber hand is their own hand. Some report feeling the touch on the rubber hand itself. When researchers suddenly threaten to strike the rubber hand with a hammer, participants flinch and their stress response spikes. Their brain has accepted a piece of rubber as a part of their own body. This happens because proprioception is constantly being recalibrated by what your eyes see, combined with what your body feels. When the visual and physical signals align, even briefly, your brain can be tricked into reassigning your sense of self. This raises a question that scientists still cannot fully answer. What exactly is the boundary of your own body? Is it the physical skin you were born with? Or is it simply whatever your brain currently believes belongs to you? Modern neuroscience suggests it may be the second one. Your sense of self is not fixed. It is a live calculation, constantly updated, constantly negotiated between your eyes, your proprioceptive signals, and your brain's best guess about what is actually you. There is one more piece to this story, and it might be the strangest part of all. Astronauts experience a phenomenon that scientists still do not fully understand. In the weightlessness of space, proprioceptive signals behave completely differently. Without gravity pulling on your joints, in a predictable way, the constant stream of signals your brain relies on becomes unreliable. Many astronauts report a strange and disorienting feeling. Some describe briefly losing track of where their own arms and legs are, even while looking directly at them. Their proprioceptive map and their visual map stop agreeing with each other. NASA scientists have studied this extensively. It remains one of the open challenges of long-duration space travel. Astronauts must essentially relearn parts of their own proprioceptive system once they return to Earth's gravity. Some experience this disorientation for days after landing. Your sense of where your body is was built entirely for life on this planet. Take away gravity, and the system that silently runs your entire physical existence begins to falter. So here is what we know. You have a sense that has been working perfectly since before you were born. It tells your brain where every part of your body is, thousands of times every second. It can be lost completely, as it was for Ian Waterman. It can be tricked, as it was in the rubber hand illusion. It can be destabilized, as it is for astronauts in space. And for your entire life, you have never once consciously felt it working. Right now, as you listen to this, your proprioceptive system is telling your brain exactly how your body is positioned. Whether you are sitting, whether you are lying down, whether your arms are crossed or resting at your sides, you did not have to check. You simply knew. That knowing is not free. It is the product of an entire sensory system working in total silence, every second, for your entire life. A system most people will never learn the name of. A system you only noticed because, for a few minutes, someone finally told you it was there. Close your eyes one more time. Notice your hands. Notice your feet. Notice the position of your own head. You know exactly where they are. You always have. You just never knew why.